Hi everyone. So today I'm not going to read a book, but today I'm going to read samples of the series books that we already read. So we have read Ivy and Bean, but this is book 2. I'll read the first chapter of that. I'll read the first chapter of Judy Moody Gets Famous, number 2. And I will also read the sample of Dory Phantasmagory, The Real True Friend. Let's start with Ivy and Bean. The Gymnastics Club. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wham! Bean crashed into the grass. Ouch, said Ivy, peeking through a hole in her sandwich. Doesn't that hurt? No, I'm just dizzy, said Bean. She sat up and the playground began to tilt. Ugh, she lay down again. Now Emma stood up. She lifted her hands above her head, took a big breath, and began. She did 9 good cartwheels before she fell on her head. Are you all right? Ivy asked Emma with her mouth full of peanut butter. Sort of, said Emma. Now it was Zuzu's turn. Zuzu was the best cartwheeler in the gymnastics club. She was also the best backbender. She could do 7 round-offs in a row. Nobody else could do even 1. Zuzu pulled down her ruffled pink shirt and raised her hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cartwheels. And still, Zuzu landed on her feet. Then she arched over backwards. She flung her arms over her head and made a perfect backbend. She looked like a turned-over pink teacup. Then she rose back up, boing, like a doll with elastic in its legs. Wow, said Ivy. Bean jumped up. She just had to do 12 cartwheels. Stand back, she yelled. Wait, said Zuzu. What about you, Ivy? Aren't you going to do a cartwheel, Ivy? I'm guarding the jackets, said Ivy. But Ivy, this is the gymnastics club, said Zuzu. You can't just guard jackets. Why not? Ivy wondered. We'll teach you how to if you don't know how to do it, said Emma. She knows, said Bean. She can do a cartwheel. I've seen her. Ivy looked at Bean in surprise. Why was she saying that? Ivy had never done a cartwheel in her life. Slowly, Ivy put her sandwich down next to Emma's jacket. There's just one little problem, she began. Hey, Leo, yelled Bean suddenly. You'd better watch out. If I get hit with that ball, there's going to be trouble. Leo was the leader of the soccer kids at Emerson School. Before there was a gymnastics club, the soccer kids had the whole field to themselves during lunch recess. When Bean and Emma and Zuzu and Ivy started gymnastics club, they kept getting hit with soccer balls. One day, Bean got clobbered in the stomach, and she declared war on the soccer kids. She came to school with a bag of ripe plums and chased Leo down. When she caught him, she sat on him and rubbed plums in his hair. Rose, the yard duty, had been really mad. She told Leo and Bean they would have to work it out, or she would kick them all off the field. So Bean and Leo worked it out. The gymnastics club was supposed to have all the grass near the play structure. The soccer kids were supposed to keep their balls from hitting the gymnastics club. Bean promised not to bring plums to school anymore. After that, war was mostly over. But now Leo looked mad. It's not even near you, he yelled. He was right. The ball was on the other side of the field. near McAdam, a weird kid who sat under the trees and ate dirt when he thought no one was looking. "Okay!" yelled Bean, feeling like a dork. She had only been trying to help Ivy. "Like I was saying, I can't do a cartwheel at the moment," said Ivy. "Why?" asked Zuzu with her hands on her hips. "Because," Ivy said, "we've got an emergency situation going on. Right over there," she pointed. Emma, Zuzu, and Bean followed Ivy's pointing finger across the playground. She was pointing directly to the girls' bathroom, the one right outside their classroom. That is the first chapter of Ivy and Bean and the Ghost That Had to Go. Now I'm going to read Judy Moody Gets Famous, the first chapter. Who's Who? How do you spell famous? Judy Moody marched into third grade on a plain old Thursday, in a plain old ordinary mood. That was before Judy got stung by the queen bee. Judy sat down at her desk, in the front row next to Frank Pearl. "Hey, did you see Jessica Finch?" asked Frank in a low voice. "Yeah, so? I see her every day. She sits catty-cornered behind me." "She's wearing a crown." Judy turned to look at Jessica, then whispered to Frank, "Where'd she get that? Burger Barn?" "I don't know," said Frank. "Ask her. She says it's bejeweled." "Well, it looks be-dumb, if you ask me," said Judy, though secretly she admired the sparkling ruby-like gems. "Hey, are those real rubies?" Judy asked Jessica. "They're costume jewelry," Jessica said. "Who are you dressed up as? The Queen of England?" "No, I'm the Queen Bee," said Jessica. "I won the NV Spelling Bee on Saturday." "The NV Spelling Bee?" Judy asked. Judy didn't envy anyone who had to spell long words into a microphone with 1,000,001 people staring bug-eyed at her. She knew those people were silently yelling, "Flub it up," because they wanted their own kid to win. Not envy, NV, as in Northern Virginia. "Oh," said Judy, "is that where you got the crown?" "It's a tiara," said Jessica. Tiara. A tiara is a fancy crown like the Queen of England wears. Queen of the Bee has to know tons of definitions. "What word did you win for?" Judy asked. "Frank wants to know," she added, in case Jessica thought she was interested. "Artichoke. It's a fourth grade word." "Artichoke?" Judy could barely spell meatloaf. "Give me science any day," she thought. Was that the rule? I before E, or was it E before I? "I have spelling posters in my room at home," said Jessica, "with all the rules. I even have a glow-in-the-dark one." "That would give me spelling nightmares. I'll take my glow-in-the-dark skeleton poster any other day. It shows all 206 bones in the body." "Judy," said Mr. Todd, "the back of your head is not nearly as interesting as the front. And so far, I've seen it more of today than I'd like." "Sorry," said Judy, facing front again. Jessica tapped Judy and passed her a folded page from the newspaper. Right there, smack dab in the middle of the newspaper for the whole world to see, was a picture of Jessica Finch. It even says "Local Girl Becomes Queen Bee" in big fat headline letters. "My dad says I got my 15 minutes of fame," Jessica whispered to the back of Judy's head. Judy did not turn around. She was green with envy. Jessica A. Finch, Queen of the Dictionary, Class 3T, was famous. Judy couldn't help thinking how stupendous it would feel to be able to spell better than meatloaf and be the Queen Bee and wear a tiara, to get her own picture in the paper. But she, Judy Moody felt about as famous as a pencil. As soon as Judy got home from school, she decided to memorize the dictionary, but she got stuck on aardwolf, free lousy words. Who ever heard of an aardwolf anyway? Silly old termite eater. It had a pointy little head and beady little eyes and a pinched up face that looked like Jessica A. Finch. Jessica Aardwolf Finch might be famous, but she was also a silly old termite eater. Since Jessica had become queen bee with the word artichoke, Judy decided to skip the dictionary and spill all the vegetables in the refrigerator instead. "Do we have any artichokes?" Judy asked her mother, opening the door of the fridge. "Since when did you start liking artichokes?" asked Mom. "Don't worry, I'm not going to eat them or anything," said Judy. "It's for spelling." "Spelling?" Stink asked. "Mr. Todd does have some creative ways of teaching spelling," said Mom. "Never mind," said Judy, giving up when she saw asparagus. Vegetables were too hard to spell. There had to be a food group that was easier. At dinner, Judy slurped up a noodle and asked, "How do you spell spaghetti?" "Noodle," said Stink. "Spaghetti," said Dad. "Or pasta," said Mom. "Never mind," said Judy. "Please pass the bread. "How was school today?" Mom asked. "Well," Judy said. "Jessica Finch won a TIARA in the spelling bee and got her picture in the PAPER. Even if she does look like an AARDWOLF, Aardwolf." "So that's what all this spelling is about," said Mom. "You're WEIRD, Stink told his sister. "I comes before E, Stink, except after C. Everyone knows that." "What a meatloaf." "Actually," said Mom, "your brother's right." "What?" said Judy. "How can he be right? He broke the rule." "Lots of rules have expectations," said Dad. "Times when you have to break the rule. No fair." Judy slumped down in her chair. She was not going to be famous by spelling, that was for sure. The free strings of spaghetti left on her plate made a shape of a mean face. Judy made a mean face back. Dad took a bite out of his garlic bread and asked Judy, "You're not in one of your famous moods again, are you?" That's the end of the chapter for Judy Moody Gets Famous. One more. Dory Phantasmagory, a true friend. So we're reading this book right now. Enjoy. Chapter 1, Such a Weirdo. My name is Dory, but everyone calls me Rascal. This is my family. I have a mom, dad, big brother, and big sister who are just regular people. I also have a monster and fairy godmother who are not regular because only I can see them. Mary is my monster. She sleeps under my bed and plays with me all day. Mr. Nuggy is my fairy godmother. He lives in the woods, but comes over if I have an emergency. And I'm about to have an emergency pretty soon because tomorrow is the first day of school. I tell Mary the big news while we are playing our favorite game, Exercise Club. Wait, what is school again? Oh yeah, that place. With the water fountains, says Mary. There are so many kids and not a lot of grown-ups. Yippee! I love that place, she says. Let's get packing. Mary decides to make a list of what I should bring. I'm sorry, but I cannot read this, I say. So she reads it to me. Please bring to school tomorrow your dad's dirty laundry, extra salami, and lemon juice. What a weird list, I say. Are you sure you remember what school is? Uh-huh, super sure, she says. All right, I say, I'm trusting you. First, we collect as much of my dad's dirty laundry as we can. Are you done with that undershirt you're wearing? Doo-da-doo-da-doo. Then I stuffed the laundry in my backpack. It makes me look like a big kid with a backpack full of homework. So that's what it's for. Second, we sneak down to the kitchen. Luckily, no one is there. I grab a handful of salami and put it in my lunchbox. It's true. My mom never packs me enough salami. Slow down. You too. Third, we look for the lemon juice. Okay, let's figure out what this is for, I tell Mary. I'm gonna take a tiny squeeze and you tell me what happens. Wow, ooh yeah! So I ask, your muscles are huge, says Mary. What else? I say, and your bones are lit up like light bulbs. What else? And you have magic eyebrows, says Mary. I don't know what that means, but I like it. Let's pack it, I say. Just then, my brother and sister come in the kitchen. What are you doing? Asks my sister Violet. Nothing, I say, while Mary quickly sneaks the bottle of lemon juice into my lunchbox. You know, Rascal, you're going to have to get dressed for school. You can't wear that dirty old nightgown every day anymore, says Violet. And you can't talk to yourself at school, says my brother Luke. And you do not move the furniture around in your classroom to build a fort like you did last year, says Violet. You know, Rascal, you can't and don't. Just try not to imagine things, says Luke. That's all you have to remember, Rascal. Right, says Violet, pointing her finger. No matter what, do not use your imagination. Like telling people that monsters live in our house, says Luke. Or talking about Mrs. Gobblecracker, says Violet. Mrs. who? I'm done with her, I say, which is a huge lie because Mrs. Gobblecracker is still my favorite game. Mrs. Gobblecracker is a robber, and she is 507 years old, and she has very sharp teeth, and she wanted to steal me away from my family and lock me in her cave forever, but I was too tricky. And, says Violet, the most important thing for you to remember is, don't be yourself. Can you do that? Rascal, what are you staring at? Says Luke. Pay attention. Do you know why we are telling you all this? Says Violet, shaking my shoulders. Wake up! Pay attention! Because if you act like a weirdo, nobody will want to be friends with you. Violet's words are like giant rocks that fall from the sky and hit me on the head one by one and make the monsters disappear. What? I say. Violet says slowly, because you won't have any friends. I don't care, I say, but I imagine myself all alone at recess. If you want friends, says Violet, you should listen to me. You should plan your outfit for the first day of school. I'm busy already, I say, walking backwards out of the kitchen. Then I turn around and run upstairs to my room and shut the door. As fast as I can, I take all my clothes out of my drawers, every single one of them, and put them in a big, huge pile so I can plan my outfit for tomorrow. That's the first chapter of Dory Phantasmagory, One True Friend. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Bye!